All right. Here we go, guys and gals. And boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, drivers.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen from around the world, to the Loose Wheels Show, back in studio in the Bill Austin. My name is Andrew Hazlett. That is Ethan Ignatowski. How you feeling, Ethan, to start this fine Thursday afternoon?
Feeling good. I'm not sure we're worldwide. I think that might be some false advertisement, but supposedly we are live in the MU now, which is kind of cool. Always been live downtown Phoenix campus, but Blaze Radio now at the MU for part of the day anyway. Mm-hmm. So if you're at the MU and you hear us, what's up? How you doing?
Yeah, slide us DM on somewhere on social media. You can find us. What? Anyway, let's just get into.
Well, you have to explain the show to the new people, Andrew. What are we?
We are the Loose Wheels Show. The wheels have fallen off already.
Record timing.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe not. But we talk about NASCAR, IndyCar, and F1 primarily. Just discuss the racing that happened last week. Talk about news. And then we preview the upcoming week of racing. And then as well, we got our pick points. Ethan's been leading
we're going for a three-peat. We're going for a three-peat.
One season 1, one season 2. I'm not doing too well. We also have guest picks as well. With that all being said, I think I explained everything now.
That's the show, yeah.
Let's get into reviews.
And now for last week's race reviews.
NASCAR was at Gateway. Connor Zilic continued his incredible run in Xfinity, winning. But Stage 1 Cup Series, and Denny Hamlin was on pole. Larson got the lead right away. Kyle Busch had a spin. Yellow flag pit stops. We had some alternating strategies. Chris Buescher and Zane Smith took 2 tires. You had Kyle Larson was your first car off on 4 tires. Tyler Reddick pitted in Hamlin's box, and then your top 8 stayed out, led by Hamlin and Briscoe.
Wait, what do you mean he pitted in?
When he pitted, one of the wheels wasn't tightened all the way, so he pulled up into the Hamlin pit box, and they had him tighten the wheel, that's a penalty for.
Yeah, I'd assume
Reddick.
So. Yeah,
but we've seen that a lot lately, and with these loose wheels in this next gen car, there's a lot more loose wheels than what we saw in the previous gen car, going from the 5 lug nuts to single lug nut. It's made pit stops faster, which I like, but it's also caused a lot more loose wheels, which I don't like. And now this thing is taking prevalence. Started this year in Las Vegas when the first time this instance happened. It's now happened a lot more, which I don't know how to feel about that. Yeah, it's a safety thing. That's why you pit it. You pit a second time in a different person's box, but I don't know. It's kind of annoying to see. I don't know. Anyway, Briscoe gets the lead, and then Josh Berry continued his bad playoffs after crashing from contact with Chase Elliott. Chase Briscoe wins Stage 1. Yellow flag pit stops for some people. Briscoe was first off among those. Larson leads. Briscoe hits Suarez into the wall. Yellow flag pit stops for some. Larson continues to lead. Then we had the Dillon brothers make contact. Austin spun out Ty. We had yellow flag pit stops for some. Christopher Bell was on 2 tires. Larson was first down 4. Bubba Wallace inherits the lead. Kyle Larson just flat out spins Ryan Blaney. Yellow flag pit stops for Brad Keselowski and Austin Dillon, or for everyone except those 2 guys. They stay out. Bubba Wallace is first off, but Bubba Wallace managed to win Stage 2. Stage 3, few pit under the yellow flag. Wallace leads. Debris caution because you have brake markers at every track, the 300 feet, 200 feet. One of those came off. That's no good. So we had a caution there. Few pit. Bubba Wallace just spun his wheels on the restart, lost a few positions, stalled on the entire outside line. Hamlin got the lead. Shane Van Gisbergen spins. Some pit with Hamlin staying out. Wallace and others take 2. Larson has a diffuser issue on his stop. Hamlin leads. We have green flag pit stops. Ty Dillon has his brakes go, hits the wall mid-cycle. The top 16 had yet to pit. So the rest of people pit. Van Gisbergen and Dillon, Austin Dillon, that is, they take 2 tires. Bubba Wallace was first on 4. Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin plus 9 others stay out. Hamlin gets the lead right away. Keselowski's on super old tires, and Hamlin wins a 4 out of 10 race. Just not much exciting happened. I've said it before on the show. I'm going to say it again to all the new listeners listening. The car is just not good. It's not good anywhere, and that's really it. NASCAR's got to make some changes if they want this thing to work.
That's a theme that I think you could say transcends just NASCAR, because Formula One was in Italy this past weekend at Monza. It's a track that has in the past promoted a lot of great racing, a lot of great passing, and we saw that for the first 6 laps this weekend, but after that it was a bit of a snooze fest. There were some things later on that has thrown the internet through a loop, so we'll talk about that. But before we get into the actual F1 race, Formula 3, Rowan Belinsky won the sprint. Jasanopol and Thropuvicic won the feature race. F3 done for the year now. Rafael Camara is your champion. Nikola Toslov, your runner-up. In F2, Leo Fornaroli won the sprint race, and Luke Browning won the feature race. Coincidentally, those are your top 2 in that championship, but they aren't quite done yet. So, going into F1, Max Verstappen, he secured pole with Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri right behind him. Max's pole lap featured the highest average top speed of any F1 qualifying lap ever, 264 kilometers per hour. Andrew, faster than Lewis Hamilton's lap there in... It was 19, 20, 21, one of those years. 264 kilometers per hour. That is 164 in freedom speed units. Onto the race, Nico Hülkenberg, he wasn't able to make it to the grid. He had an issue with his car, so his day was over even before it started. After the lights went out, though, and racing went underway, there was some calamity, I'd say, going down to turn 1. Lando Norris tried to pass Max on the inside. He had to go onto the grass. He couldn't make a move stick. He then tried to go down the inside of Max again at turn 1. And Max, he went off track to maintain the lead. He eventually had to give that position back because he went off track. Someone who was able to make a move stick, though, was Charles Leclerc. He went down the inside of Oscar Piastri through the chicane. It was a nice move. Those two continued to battle throughout the first couple laps. Lando and Max, they battled until around turn 4. Then Max started to pull away. But on the straight, either next lap or on lap 3, Max gave the lead back, or he gave the lead to Lando. He was ordered by the Red Bull pit wall. They didn't want to risk the penalty, so Max complied. But it didn't take him long to regain the position, because on lap 4, he passed Lando around the outside of turn 1, which you really don't ever see. That was a really nice move. I'm really not sure why, but the Red Bull was just so insanely fast at Monza. It was, with Max driving it, it was in a league of its own. After that, on lap 6, the Piastri-Leclerc battle finally ended. Oscar, he made a move very similar to Max's move around the outside to get third place back. Like I said, you don't really see moves around the outside of turn 1 at Monza, but it was a nice move, and it happened twice, so shout out to those guys. A little lower down the grid throughout this early stage, though, Lewis Hamilton was making his way up from 10th, where he started because he had a 5-place grid drop penalty. On lap 7, I believe it was, he passed Gabriel Bortoleto on the main straight for 6th. Honestly, shout out to Gabriel Bortoleto for being that high up the grid anyway. He had a great weekend. It seemed like Lewis would have a shot to kind of continue to charge up the grid, especially since Leclerc was showing such great pace. And he did challenge George Russell for 5th, but he was never able to get past him. 6th was where he finished after his impressive start. Nothing really happened for a while then. Kind of a snooze fest, honestly. There was some close racing, but nothing came of it. Kimi Antonelli, he made a nice move on Yuki Tsunoda for 9th. But aside from that, nothing really happened until lap 25 when Fernando Alonso's suspension just completely fell apart after he went over a curb. Had to retire the car. He said over team radio it was unbelievable, and it really was. It looked like that suspension was made out of cardboard. That, I don't know, there's something going on.
Cardboard and duct tape.
Yeah, it looked like, it did not look F1 quality, that's for sure. On lap 38, so jumping again, sizable jump, but just nothing worth talking about happened. Max Verstappen, he pit for hard tires. A couple of drivers had already come into the pits by that point in time, which did shake up the order a bit. But the leaders tried to extend their stints for as long as possible. So he came out in 3rd place behind Lando and Oscar. In between Max pitting on lap 38 and the first McLaren pitting on lap 46, Carlos Sainz and Oliver Behrman made contact at turn 4. Both drivers pirouetted. Both drivers were able to continue. Behrman, though, did get a 10-second time penalty for that incident. Carlos kind of closed the door, but he was never making a pass there, so 10-second time penalty for him. Like I said, the first McLaren came into pit on lap 46, and that was Oscar Piastri to try and cover off Charles Leclerc. Super fast pit stop, blazing quick, some might say. See what I did there, Andrew? 1.9 seconds. Lando, on the other hand, though, he came in on lap 47. He had a really bad pit stop, 6 seconds. Due to that time offset, Oscar came out in front of Lando, which seemed like it could ruin Lando's race, but it didn't, because just a few laps later, McLaren made the controversial decision to swap the two drivers, have Lando go back to 2nd, Oscar down to 3rd. A lot of people have opinions on this, Andrew. The internet, F1 Twitter was having a field day.
Oh, F1 Twitter.
Honestly, I don't want to spend too much time on this because I feel like it's a great way to just lose brain cells, but it's hard to form an opinion on this, in my opinion, honestly, because McLaren keeps doing different things. Last year at Hungary, kind of a similar situation. They swapped the drivers when Lando came out ahead of Oscar after a pit stop. This year, they didn't swap the drivers at Silverstone when Oscar made a mistake and Lando gained an advantage because of that. Now, maybe that situation was different than this situation because at Silverstone, Oscar himself did something to affect him, whereas at Monza, Lando didn't do anything wrong. It was the team that did something wrong. So the team wanted to make it right, because if they had both had, 1.9 second pit stops, or even if Lando had like a 2.5 second pit stop, he would have came out ahead of Oscar. So I think from that sense it's fair. Now, is it racing? Is it what teams do? Is it the right thing? That's up for interpretation because, these things do happen in racing. There are mistakes. Teams do make mistakes. However, I also don't really see the issue with a team trying to fix a mistake that they made, especially since it was something super easy to fix. Just they were right behind each other, in front and back to each other. Just have them swap. I don't know. You can make your own opinion on it, but to me it's kind of a non-issue. I think that if the race had more substance to it, this would be kind of a footnote instead of the entire story. That's my opinion on it. After that swap, though, which was like lap 49 or something, nothing happened until the checkered flag waved on lap 53, and Verstappen took the win. Like I said, the Red Bull was just great there. Norris and Piastri were the rest of the podium, and then the rest of the top 10 was Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton, Albon, Bortoleto, Antonelli, and Isaac Hadjar rounding it out in P10. He had a really nice recovery drive after getting eliminated from Q1 for the first time in his career and starting from the pit lane. Piastri leads the championship over Lando Norris, 324 points to 293 now. No race this weekend. They will be in Azerbaijan at Baku next weekend. And now for the news.
So into the news, Ethan. Pierre Gasly extends his Alpine stay through 2028. That's an interesting one, you know. His time at Alpine hasn't probably been as successful as he might have wanted. Is that fair to say?
I think that's fair to say. I mean, after he was kicked out of the main Red Bull team and he went back to AlphaTauri and he had to reinvent himself, he did a really good job. He asserted himself as, if not the best driver in the midfield, one of them. Mm-hmm. And it was pretty obvious to everyone. No one could take that away from him. He was getting podiums when opportunities arised. He got a win, dude. Like, it was impressive stuff. And since then, you think you're going up in the world by going to Alpine, which theoretically should be a better team. But it just kind of hasn't been. That's just kind of how it's worked out. It just hasn't been. I don't think it's been like super, super, super disappointing. And he is kind of limited by the car. But yeah, compared to what he was doing at AlphaTauri, Toro Rosso, whatever, you know, it's not as, you know, visually pleasant when you go look at his race results. There's a lot less top 10 finishes. When he is finishing inside the top 10, it's near the back of the top 10. He had that one podium last year, which overall makes his season look a lot better, but that was such a weird race in Brazil with the rain that you can't judge. That was an outlier race. You remove the outlier, and his season is pretty disappointing. But where else is he really going to go on the grid? You know what I mean? Ferrari, they're going to be locked up with Charles and Lewis. And after Lewis is retired, Behrman is going to get that drive. Red Bull isn't going to bring him back into the family. McLaren has arguably the best driver lineup on the grid, and they're both locked up for quite some time now. Mercedes hasn't agreed to a contract with either George or Kimi, but we all know that it's going to happen. It would be very shocking if neither of those guys got re-signed, so he wasn't going to go there. So now you're looking around, and the four top teams that on paper every weekend should occupy 8 of the 10 points-giving positions, you start to look around, it's like, where are you going to go? Well, if you start looking around your own area, you're not going to Aston Martin. Fernando Alonso's there, and Lance Stroll is there. Mm-hmm. They're not going to change that lineup. Again, you're not going back to the Red Bull family, so that means that RB is off the table. Williams has their driver lineup. Audi has their driver lineup. That leaves one team left, and then it's the team that he's at. This is the only
there's
spot.
Haas too.
Haas is also,
but not an improvement.
Yeah, Haas is a step back, and Behrman is there for now, and he's not leaving until he replaces Lewis. Maybe they'd rather have Pierre than Esteban, but I don't think so. Like, it's not a move for either party. The move isn't worth it for either party to make. So that means Alpine is just where he needs to be. It's the only spot for him. Maybe that's unfortunate for him. I mean, on an emotional level, how do you feel? Because you're the resident Pierre Gasly fan on this show.
I mean, Alpine's been a letdown. That's really it. Like, I thought back in 2021 time, Alpine was on the up and up. They're on a path to possibly being a team that wins championships with drivers and constructors. They had the ingredients, and then they said, no, let's change them. And they had the ingredients to be like a solid midfield team, and said, no, let's change them. And now they're at the back. So Alpine, like, if Alpine had a decent, like, just a stable leadership, we might be talking about how Alpine's such this great team instead of McLaren, because of how they rose up the grid. So it's just been disappointing to see Alpine as a whole, regardless, even before they brought in Gasly. It's just, this is a team that's supposed to be on the up and up with all these celebrity investors, Mahomes, Kelsey, and others, but they haven't shown anything. Like, I think they're last in the constructors this year. How is this? How this shouldn't be the case if you're Alpine. You had, like I said, you had the ingredients, and then you just decided, yeah, no.
I mean, they're last in the constructors, but that's more so because of their performances from their second drivers, which Jack Doohan and Franco Colapinto have combined for a whopping 0 points. Pierre, on his own, is 14th, which isn't. It's not where he wants to be, but you can also do a lot worse than being 14th.
Yeah.
So it has been disappointing, but one, it's not on him.
Yeah.
And two, where else is he going to go?
Yeah.
If he wants to stay in Formula One, which he obviously does, it's unfortunate, but sign this contract where you're going to be locked up through 2028 and try to prove yourself in the next generation of cars, because next year, when we do have that new generation, who knows? Maybe Alpine gets it right. You've mentioned that there's been a lot of change in leadership. There has been, but now you have Flavio back in or am I getting my names mixed up?
Yeah, Flavio.
Yeah, you have Flavio back, not as team principal, because he's not allowed to call himself team principal, but back leading the team. He knows what it takes to win. May love him or hate him, respect his past or not, he knows how to win. He could potentially oversee a team that gets the regulations right and shoots up the grid. I don't think that we'll be seeing Alpine win nearly every weekend anytime soon, but if both sides can come out of 2026 looking better than before, then he can get a different seat with a team that has even more appeal than Alpine, and it can benefit him. And like I said, who knows? Maybe Alpine does get the regulations right, because we didn't expect McLaren to be this good a few years back, and here they are. That was a team that was dead in the water, and now they're best in the world. So who knows? I like the move just because he had no other option.
Yeah, that's fair.
Secures his future for 3 seasons. I think you can do a lot worse than that, personally. Moving on, though, another piece of news that locks something up for a long period of time. Monaco is set to stay on the F1 calendar until at least 2035. Monaco essentially has a lifetime contract with Formula One. It's the worst race of the season. It's impossible for cars to pass there. But it also is Formula One. Mm-hmm. That's the historic heart of the sport. You're not going to get rid of the track. All you can do is hope that the layout can get modified in the coming years, or that the change to the cars in 2026 is enough to promote actual passing and racing on that track instead of just a conga line of cars. I don't know. I don't have too much to say about this, because it's duh, of course Monaco is extended, but it's also none of us want it to be extended.
Like if you ask all the casual F1 fans, what is the F1 track that's, most well known, I'd say most of them are going to say Monaco throughout the world. And then obviously wherever you go, you might say your local Grand Prix. Like here, you might say Vegas is the first one or Coda. But if based on where you go, you'll get different answers. But if you ask the hardcore F1 fan, I think you'll still get Monaco in your local track, but then you'll throw in maybe Suzuka or a Red Bull or Silverstone or Spa, Monza. I think you could argue as well. What is the F1 track? Yeah, Monaco's what people know. I don't know. You watch F1 more than I do, but I think your well-known stars throughout the world all go to Monaco versus Hungary.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have people rock up to Austin for Coda. You'll have people at Silverstone, but Monaco brings out the stars. It truly does. And it's unfortunate that is the experience that they get. It's unfortunate that that's the experience that, because, if you're someone who watches like one F1 race a year, chances are it's Monaco, because chances are you're watching the back-to-back, or if you're really insane, you're watching the triple header of Monaco, Indy 500, Coke 600. And one of those races is so incredibly boring that it just makes the entire sport look awful. Mm-hmm. It's unfortunate. F1 needs to do something, because I'd argue that in its current form, Monaco genuinely damages F1's brand. At the same time, F1 is growing at such a rate and has so many other races that people are watching and enjoying that it, at the end of the day, doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But you still want your Super Bowl to be an enjoyable experience. You want your World Series to be an enjoyable experience. You want your Stanley Cup final to be an enjoyable experience. And right now, Monaco isn't an enjoyable experience.
Yeah. I'd agree with that. I think we've said all that we need to on that subject.
Yeah. Next piece of news, honestly just threw it in there because we don't have much to talk about. But Freddie Slater will be competing in F3 next year with Trident. And Andrew, I'm locking it in right now. He's winning the championship next season. He is going to be next year's Rafael Camara. Trident has won 3 F3 championships in a row, with Rafael Camara in his rookie season being the latest to do so. Like Camara, Slater comes from a very, very impressive background in what he's done. I mean, F3 is obviously also a junior series, but the junior series leading up to F3, he's currently leading Formula Regional. He finished second earlier this year in Formula Regional Middle East. He's won F4 UAE. He's won Italian F4. He's kind of won or finished second almost everywhere that he's been. And now at the best team in F3, I think he has the best shot of winning the championship. In his first ever race this year, because he's done a couple of one-off races this year. In his first ever race, he finished second. It was a sprint, but still, he finished second. Since then, he has a DNF and a 26th, but you can see the talent already. Mm-hmm. He's super young. He's going to be 17 or 18 next year when he's competing in the series, so that could kind of, make it difficult for him because he doesn't have as much experience as some other drivers might have. But in these lower levels, talent trumps experience, that I'd say.
Yeah.
So just look out for him. Saying this now, September 2025. So this time next year, I can look like an absolute genius. Because to toot my own horn, to boost my own ego.
Oh boy.
I got it right this year. So why not next year?
I don't know. Anyway,
You don't want to give me any credit, Andrew.
No, I don't.
This guy.
That's yeah.
This guy.
Max Verstappen, also known as Franz Hermann.
Yeah, he Max with F1 not on the calendar this weekend. He is making his debut in the NLS series, which what is the NLS series? I hear you asking, Andrew.
That's what I was typing into my computer.
It is I'm not even actually gonna pronounce it. It's German. I'm gonna butcher it. It's essentially a GT series that exclusively races on the Nürburgring Nordschleife, which is the long circuit, not the small F1 circuit. It is the long 7-mile crazy bonkers track, and it's a series that only races there. Now we all know that Max had a private GT3 Ferrari test, decked out in a Red Bull livery, month or two back. He's not expected to be racing in a Ferrari. He's expected to be racing in a Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 car, or a Cayman Cup car, or whatever the SP7 class is. There's multiple different classes, and it hasn't been decided what class he's going to race in. But it'll be interesting to see how he does, because obviously he's immensely talented. He's probably the most talented racing driver in the world. So we'll see how he picks up something new and different from what he's been doing, and especially on what is pretty much the most difficult track in the world, due to not only like how difficult the corners and track layouts are, but just the immense size of the track. Andrew, it's a 7-mile track. That's kind of crazy. So we'll see how he does. It was rumored that when he did that Ferrari test, he set a GT3 lap record, unofficial, of course. But if that's true, then I really don't see why he wouldn't be able to win. I mean, he's just that talented. Even if it's something he's never driven before, on a track that he barely has experience on, against people who are experienced in these cars, and this is the potentially the only track they drive on. He's just got the talent, and
yeah,
can't teach that.
I'm going to pronounce the name of this series.
Okay, for those that are listening to the first time and don't know, Andrew is notoriously awful at pronouncing anything that isn't just the most basic English ever.
It is the Nürburgring Langstrecken Serie.
That's what we're going to go with.
I think that's pretty close.
I think you might have hit the nail on the head there.
I'll give you credit for that. I'm bad at Italian names in particular. That's my weakness. So yeah.
I feel like Italian names are the easiest to pronounce out of like European last names.
I don't know. Do you want to listen to whatever many 90-something episodes that we have in history of the show? There, you could probably find a half dozen times where I butcher an Italian name. Maybe more. Anyway, going over to NASCAR. Haas factory team to partner with Chevrolet and Hendrick Motorsports in 2026. This was kind of surprising to an extent, as that Haas has been with Ford for a very long time, since like 2017. Ford doesn't have many teams, especially in the Xfinity series, where it's literally just the two Haas cars, the RSS cars, which is two of them that are full time, and then the AM Racing car. That's 5 full-time cars, Ethan. And now Ford's losing 2 of those. So it's like, whoa, that's out of left field. And it's concerning what could happen in the future for Ford. Is probably want to add someone back to the fold, but they're going to keep all their lineup. Well, we know that for in both Cup and Xfinity, with Cup being Cole Custer and Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer in Xfinity. So yeah, it's surprising. And if you go back long before Haas became Stewart Haas, they were a one-car Chevy team, and now Haas is kind of getting back to their roots. Before Tony Stewart came and now has since left. Interesting to see.
Yeah. I mean, how do you think this will kind of impact the future of all parties involved?
For Haas, I think that it's going to be this. I think in Cup, maybe a small boost in performance, but there's nothing to say, oh, yeah, they're going to go so far up, because like both Ford and Chevy are kind of crowded in the Cup Series. There's a lot of teams. They're still going to be far down on the pecking order. In Xfinity, I think they moved down that Ford from the top of Ford to they're going to be behind Junior Motorsports, likely going to be behind RCR, probably going to be behind Colleague as well, and Big Machine. So that's maybe 4 teams in the Xfinity series that
that's a big drop.
Be behind, at worst, at best, second, I would say.
So why do you think they did this move then?
I don't know.
Money?
Maybe.
I mean, probably. If it's not going to improve your on-track performance and a deal gets made, chances are it's because money.
Yeah, but Ford's got to figure out something for Xfinity series, because
are they going to retain their drivers?
Yeah, they're going to retain the drivers.
Okay.
The team is, but for Ford, you have no prospects now in the Xfinity series. Harrison Burton was a Cup guy. Ryan Sieg is old as a stone. Kyle Sieg is half the talent his brother is. So they have to bring in someone to field more cars, whether that is AM Racing or a new team or RSS. They have to get something. And
free Corey Heim from Toyota.
Real. There's rumors that Corey Heim isn't going to be full-time in any series next year, which is a crime against any racing fan and Corey Heim, because he ought to be good. He ought to be somewhere because he's shown enough. But in the truck series, Ford does have prospects with Front Row Motorsports and Thor Sport Racing as well. So, I don't know. It's like Ford has to do something. I don't feel like there's any outright winners in this move, which is weird for me to say.
Yeah. And now for next week's race previews.
We're going to move into the previews now. Bristol, the night race, with the car being bad everywhere, especially at short tracks. The data suggests this race is a 3.5 based on previous year's results.
We have data now.
Yeah, data based off.
You crunched the numbers?
Yeah, I crunched the numbers. Racing just hasn't been good at Bristol, just because it's the car, it's not the track. But what can you do with a car that's drives like a brick, basically? And I know we've been negative about the car. There was a time where there was optimism with this car. Now there's not.
You don't sound like you don't right now. You don't sound like a man that's ever had any optimism.
Because Ethan, I think the first 5 races or so of the year, we had 5 bangers. We probably had 5 bangers since those first 5 races, but it's hard. You'd have to
think about
I'd
it.
have
for a
to
minute.
think about it.
Yeah,
Which,
that's not good.
yeah,
Don't think too much.
I'm not thinking too much. So anyway, we'll get into the
Don't you hurt yourself.
5 drivers that I give you to look out for this race at Bristol based off of past results. And I give honorable mentions because I can. It's my show. I make the rules. Kyle Busch, he's won there 8 times at Bristol, but he's just had an insane run of bad races at RCR. I don't know if there's ever a track for him to get right. This is the track, Ethan. Denny Hamlin.
Is it though? Because it seems like in this car he's only had success on, super speedways.
Yes, that's fair to an extent, but he's just been so bad in this car. He knows how to win at Bristol. He can apply some to this track. This is of all the tracks, I would imagine that the RCR team has circled this one. Denny Hamlin, he's coming off of a win, won 4 times at Bristol as well. Joey Logano won there twice as well. Kyle Larson, he's won there 3 times, Ethan. That surprised me when looking this up because I don't really think of Kyle Larson as a short track guy. But he's won there 3 times, which is more than I thought. You kind of figure, might have 1, maybe 2, but 3 came as a shock to me. Chris Buescher, he's won there once, and then honorable mention is Brad Keselowski, won there 3 times. Just hasn't had the pace this season. Going over to Cup Series, I also tell you drivers who change. There's 3 open cars this week that are part-time. Austin Hill in the 33, Chad Fincham in the 66, Hill driving our RCR, Fincham driving for Garage 66, and Corey Heim in the 67 for 2311 Racing. Xfinity Series, we got some driver changes for you. 5 and 45 for Alpha Prime Racing are Stephen Parsons and Josh Williams, respectively. 07 and 14 for SS Greenlight Racing are Carson Ware and Garrett Smithley, respectively. Brendan Butterbean Queen and the 11 for Colleague. The 17 for Hendrick is Corey Day. 19 for Joe Gibbs is Eric Almirola. 24 for Sam Hunt is Jeffrey Earnhardt. 32 for Jordan Anderson is Austin Green. 35 and 53 for Joey Gase are Glenn Reen and Joey Gase. Leland Honeyman in the 70 for Cope. 91 for DGM is Josh Bilicki. Truck Series, you have the 1 Tricon is Brent Cruz. The 02 and 20 for Youngs are Trayton Lapovich and Stephen Parsons, respectively. Rayom Brothers, their 3 trucks this week are Clayton Green, Josh Rayom, and Mason Maggio. Norm Benning is in his own truck, the 6 truck.
Norm!
Unk still got it. The Spire trucks, the 7 will be Corey Day, and the 77 Corey LaJoy. 35 for his own truck will be Greg Van Alst. Nice Motorsports, the 41 Connor Jones, 44 Andres Perez Delar, 45 Bailey Curry, 52 and 62 for Hallmar Friesen are Caden Honeycutt and Cole Butcher. 74 for Mike Harmon is Caleb Costner. 75 for Henderson is Parker Kligerman. And 95 for GK Racing is Clay Greenfield. And now we're going to talk about points. This is an elimination race, Ethan. Already advanced are Hamlin and Briscoe.
They won.
They've won.
2 races.
They're good. They made it to the next round, the playoffs. In a good spot, 40 or more points above the cut line, are Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, and Ryan Blaney. They'd have to retire for them to really be sweating it out. In a decent position.
So they're not locked in, but they're pretty much locked
Yeah, in a decent position. This is the plus 25 points, plus 40. They're in a good position. They just have to probably bring it home in the lead lap, and they'll be fine in terms of advancing. These guys are William Byron, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, and Chase Elliott. And now we're going to get to the guys that are truly on the bubble. Joey Logano, plus 21 points. Ross Chastain, plus 19. Austin Cindric, plus 11. Austin Dillon, minus 11. Shane Van Gisbergen, minus 15. Alex Bowman, surprisingly, a way back, 35 points back. They've just had no speed.
I'm not surprised.
They've just had no speed.
We were talking about this earlier.
I don't know what's happened to them in the playoffs. They've just been abysmal. And Josh Berry, 45 points back, 2 crashes. You aren't going to go far with 2 crashes. Yeah, basically a win and you're in for those last 2 guys.
Is that the only way that a guy like Alex Bowman or Josh Berry could advance?
Mathematically, no, but
logically, yes.
Alex Bowman would have to have a lot go his way.
I said this. I've said this before. I'll say it again now that we're actually live and on radio. If Bowman gets eliminated in the first round, it's probably time to have an Alex Bowman conversation.
Yeah. I agree. I wonder how much of that's crew chief, because this is still, I think, a 3rd-year crew chief. Might be a 4th year. I don't know.
At some point,
this guy's had 1 year of Michael McDowell before working with Alex Bowman. So we don't know how good this crew chief is. Maybe
if it's been 3 or 4 years, I don't want to hear an excuse about it. Oh, it's the crew chief.
Well, if it's if a guy can't set up a race car, you take prime.
Should have figured that out 2 or 3 years ago.
If you even prime Jimmy Johnson couldn't do anything.
Yeah, should have figured that out 2 or 3 years ago then.
Yeah, there should probably be a crew chief change at minimum at the end of the year.
If Alex Bowman is their guy, then yes. But like I've said a couple times now, it's too late at this point. This is something that should have been figured out before.
I know Hendrick likes Bowman. Ally, full season sponsor. I believe one of 2 season sponsors, full season sponsors, which are really hard to come by. They like Bowman. So at this point, Ethan, yeah, I agree with you. Conversations need to be had, but I don't think they're going to be had right now. I do believe there needs to be a crew chief change somewhere just to see, okay, is it truly the driver or the crew chief? Or is it kind of, this is the best that either one of them can do? So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts. Now we're going to get into pick points, Ethan.
And now for next week's race picks.
You lead. You had a good week last week. You are at 288 to my 264. Guess 232 back.
Where did I pick up points on you?
Let's run it down. Guess Zach last week picked Marie Boya, who got a point over Charlie Wurst and Trim Trammett. So for point for the guests, we all picked Rafael Camaro to win the main F3 feature race. So we all got a point. You got 5 points, Ethan. We're picking Leonardo Fornaroli to win the sprint race. The guest picked a 1 point because he beat Richard Verschoor in the feature race. We all had Lando and Oscar on the podium, but in the wrong positions. So we each picked up 2 points, and none of us had Max Verstappen on the podium. We all had Connor Zilic winning Gateway, so that's 5 points for us. And then you had Denny Hamlin winning the Cup race, so 5 points for you there. So the gaps are you lead me by 24, second highest it's been the gap all year.
I picked up 10 points on you.
Picked up 10 points.
Okay.
You currently lead by 24. Guess
Beautiful.
56 back. This is the 3rd worst they've been all year. So, Ethan, you've kind of been on a roll.
I'm just that guy.
Your picks as of late. Only 3 point places to pick this week, and I need to get some improvement here. But we have the majority of the same picks. Guest Noah hasn't sent. Oh, he's about to send me his Trucks and Xfinity pick. I hope.
Shout out Noah Reed.
Noah Reed. But yeah, let's get into it. Our picks. We have the same Trucks and Xfinity pick. Corey Heim, just been dominating. There's no reason not to pick him. Connor Zilic, again, Xfinity. No reason not to pick him. Both of them are great on fire, deserve promotions to the Cup Series. Obviously, Connor Zilic is. We know this. He's going to be in Trackhouse car next year. Corey Heim, we're unsure of. So we'll see on that. Cup Series, Noah did pick Denny Hamlin, and you had the same pick, Ethan. So tell me about your logic with that.
I mean, Denny Hamlin has not only been super good recently, but he is really good at Bristol. So if you're on a good run of form and you're going to a track that you're good at, one might expect a good performance. That's pretty simple in my opinion, and I'm high on Denny Hamlin. He's having a great year. There's been some hiccups, but overall he's had a pretty good year.
Cups, I'm going with Kyle Larson. I originally had Denny Hamlin, but I need to gain some ground, so I'm going a little bit different here. Kyle Larson, we saw some pace out of his car last week. First time I can really say that we've had it for a while. I might be a week or two early on a Kyle Larson win, but I do think it's going to come in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I know he's got a decent track record at Bristol. One more thing, I know. I think it was 2 weeks ago, Ethan. We made our Truck and Cup playoff predictions. So who's going to win the Xfinity Championship? That playoffs is starting this week. I'll go through all the drivers in that playoffs for you, so we can I know who you're gonna pick. I know who I'm gonna pick. It's obvious, but I'll tell you all the drivers. You have Connor Zilic. He has 64 playoff points. Justin Allgaier 35, Sam Mayer 16, Jesse Love and Brandon Jones with 13, Sammy Smith with 9. You've got Nick Sanchez with 6. Carson Kvapil and Taylor Gray with 5, Sheldon Creed with 3, Harrison Burton with 2, and Austin Dillon with 0 because he got suspended for being, a ding-dong. Let's just call it that. So with that being said, I want to mention a couple of guys that I was kind of surprised missed the playoffs. Christian Eckes in his rookie year looked really good last year, but missed the playoffs by a few positions. William Sawalich way off the pace.
Yeah, he had a really
disappointing rookie year. A Gibbs car shouldn't.
He kind of has turned it up in the second half. Though.
Yeah, a Gibbs car shouldn't be that far out of the playoffs. At least 70 points. That's just not good. And a guy I thought might get in as kind of an underdog. Underdog guy this year that got in was a Harrison Burton. We weren't expecting that. I thought that underdog guy might be a Ryan Sieg.
I said Harrison Burton was going to make the playoffs. Check back to our predictions episode.
I don't remember when that was, but yeah. Well,
since we just have a couple of minutes left, I'm just going to get this over with quickly. It's obviously going to be Connor Zilic. Yeah. I know you're picking Connor Zilic as well. He has won nearly every single out of the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's won 7 of the last 8 races. I mean, this guy's crazy. He hasn't finished lower than 5th since coming back from his back injury at Texas. His different injury, collarbone injury, seems to be fully healed. Miraculous timing, really. This guy is so good. I was thinking that he was going to have an amazing season. I didn't know if he would win the championship because you got guys like Justin Allgaier in this series, and he is coming in as a rookie. But he has even succeeded expectations, and his expectations were so high. He's even exceeded them. I do think that Allgaier, Mayer, and Love, the current top 4, I have all those guys advancing to my final 4. But I think it's going to be Zilich that walks away with the dub, with the championship.
Yeah, I'll take your Zilich to win the championship. I'll take Allgaier and Love as well to make the championship. I'm going to kind of go with kind of a guy that you're not really expecting. Let's go with a Carson Kvapil. Been solid all year. Not really flashy. Hasn't got a win yet, but he's ready, I think, to kind of have a coming out party in this postseason.
All right, Andrew, last minute of the show, who do you think is getting eliminated in this Cup Series elimination race?
Let's just take the three obvious guys, Bowman, Van Gisbergen, and Barry, and then we'll go with Austin Dillon. I'm just not, he does have a decent track record at Bristol, but I'm a non-believer.
Okay.
I
will take those three and different Austin. Give me Cindric.
All right. So thank you all for listening from this premiere episode.
Actually, you know what?
MU.
Cindric, you're making it through. Logano, you're out.
Okay, we have a change from Ethan. So yeah, thank you all for listening to this premiere episode in the MU, back in the Bill Austin Radio Studio downtown. For Ethan Ignatowski, my name is Andrew Hazlett. See you next week. Bye-bye.
See ya.
To me, it looked like he actually lost the wheel.
The wheel for Ross Chastain is still and perfect.
Wheel on the track.
Did you leave the wheel loose?
You picked the fine time to leave me loose, wheel.